Today, we are looking at Blizzard's latest addition to World of Warcraft, a new mount called the Trader's Gilded Brutosaur, priced at $90 dues. Now, we're all used to seeing in-game purchases by now, but this one has taken things to a whole new level, and it's stirring up strong reactions across the gaming community. So, what's so special about this mount? Why does it cost so much? And what does it say about the direction of modern gaming? Brutosaur mount isn't just any regular in-game item. For your $90, you get a massive gold-plated dinosaur-themed mount, complete with a 20th anniversary harness and special gem accents, supposedly to celebrate World of Warcraft's legacy. The appeal isn't just about the aesthetics. This mount comes with something that adds real in-game convenience, the ability to access the auction house and check your mail wherever you are in-game. Normally, you'd need to return to town to use these services, so for players who spend a lot of time in World of Warcraft, it's a convenience upgrade, admittedly attractive one. Now, if we're talking pure functionality, Blizzard has released other mounts with added features in the past, but few are as directly useful as a mobile auction house. In fact, the only other mount to feature the auction house was the original Brutosaur from 2018, which cost 5 million in-game gold at the time. Converting that gold into WoW tokens, the only way to buy gold with real money through Blizzard, would have meant players spent well over $500 in the real-world cash. So, in comparison, $90 could almost seem like a deal, but the kicker here is that this Brutosaur mount is a limited-time item. Blizzard's pulled the classic FOMO tactic, the fear of missing out. It's only available until January the 6th, 2025, which means if you don't buy it by then, you could miss out entirely. This sort of limited availability has an undeniable effect. It's pushing players to make a decision. Spend big now or regret it later when it's gone. For many players, that exclusivity makes it even harder to resist, and Blizzard knows this well. To add another layer to this story, there's of course the option to buy this mount indirectly using in-game gold through WoW tokens. Here's how it works. A player can buy a WoW token from Blizzard for $20, sell it in the game's auction house for gold, and then use that gold to buy the Brutosaur mount. But this method has created some unexpected side effects. Since the Brutosaur mount's release, the demand for WoW tokens has surged, driving up the gold cost of tokens dramatically in the in-game economy. On some servers, the price per token has even doubled, hitting record highs as players rush to stock up on tokens for their shot at buying the mount with gold. The reaction from World of Warcraft's community is understandably divided. Some players see the $90 price tag as part of an ongoing trend in gaming towards inflated prices for non-essential items. For them, this isn't even just about the mount itself, but more about the broader shift in monetization strategies in gaming. World of Warcraft already has subscription fees, expansion costs, and various other microtransactions. The Brutosaur mount, priced at $90, feels to some like an attempt by Blizzard to see just how much more money they can squeeze out of the player base. Others, though, view this as a reasonable deal, even something of a bargain if you compare it to the original Brutosaur's in-game gold price. For players who spend a significant amount of time in World of Warcraft, the mobile auction house can save a lot of time. As one Redditor put it, if you're already spending hours every week in the game, this kind of convenience might be worth it. For these players, Blizzard is simply offering something of value that's entirely optional, and to them, $90 is just the price of premium convenience. This brings us to the ethical question at the heart of the debate. Is it reasonable to charge this much for in-game convenience, or is it crossing a line? The other argument is that by charging high prices for convenience items, Blizzard is setting a dangerous precedent, one that could lead to gameplay becoming less enjoyable for players who choose not to spend. Looking at you, Black Desert. One worry that keeps cropping up is that this kind of pricing sends a message to developers. If players are willing to pay for convenience, why not start designing games around these kind of purchases? Black Desert. It's a concept that's popped up in other games. Black Desert. And it's something that, understandably, has many players worried about the future of World of Warcraft and MMOs in general. And let's not forget, this isn't an isolated trend. Many players point out that since the infamous horse armor from Oblivion, we've seen microtransactions go from being add-ons to practically core components of many games. Back in 2006, Bethesda was mocked for charging $2.50 for a cosmetic armor set, but the success of that move opened the door to what's now an industry-wide trend. Blizzard's $90 Brutosaur feels like a new peak, or depending on your perspective, a new low, in this trend of escalating costs for in-game items. At this point, we'll obviously ignore games like Star Citizen, right? And then there's the community response online. Many players on Reddit and other forums have said they've already seen crowds of people showing off their new mounts. For every player who claims they'll never support this kind of pricing, there seems to be another who's willing to pay. It's a bit of a catch-22. Players criticize these practices, but continue buying the items, essentially reinforcing the monetization strategies they dislike. This is precisely what Blizzard is banking on. The sad reality is that this Brutosaur mount likely brought in more money than a full game release for a fraction of the development time. In the end, this mount is more than just a high-priced in-game item. It's a snapshot of the current state of monetization in gaming, one where microtransactions are now anything but micro, where exclusivity and FOMO are built-in sales tactics, and where convenience has a hefty price tag. Whether you see this as a harmless option or a troubling trend, it's clear that gaming has changed dramatically since the days of single upfront purchases, and as long as players keep buying, this change isn't likely to slow down. But for those of you who are still playing, I'd be curious to hear what you think. Is this mount really worth the price to you? Or does it feel like the game is losing touch with what keeps players engaged in the first place? That's all from me. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.